Hey guys, so here we are in module 1, nurture a marketing mindset. So you should have already done the curriculum sort of introduction overview type video and had a look through there, where we lay down some of the foundations of the stuff that you're going to need to understand. And so now we're on to the sort of nurturing a marketing mindset thing. And a marketing mindset is very different from a run-of-the-mill mindset. You're going to eventually work out that we're gonna need you to think differently to the majority of people out there. If you think about all the different people in the world, what we're up to like 7 billion now, and only 1% of the population, would class themselves as successful, and we want to get you up to that 1%. And obviously, if that 1%, I mean, we're all pretty much the same beings. You know what I mean? We've got 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head, a mind, all this kind of stuff. We've usually got about the same sort of things, but for some reason, some people do much more in their lifetime than others, and a lot of it is to do with the fact that they have a hugely different mindset. Often at the other end of the scale, if you're polar opposite to what the majority of unsuccessful or run-of-the-mill normal people, whatever you want to call them, and I'm not slagging them off or anything like that. It's just the path that they've chosen or the path that they've fallen into. So and you're deciding now to take a different path, and it is very different. So it's a couple of the fundamentals, and I'll add to these as things progress, and we think about things more. But this is certainly enough to get you going. One of the first things I would say is that, one of the big differences with people that want to be successful, want to be rich, want to make some decent money, all that kind of stuff, is that they play the game in a different way, in many different ways, and one of which is the fact that they play to win, not to not lose. Okay, so think about that for a sec, because I know there's like a double negative in there. But if you think about it, especially when I was growing up, it was all about sort of this not losing. Well, I just want enough money to do this, and I just want enough money to do that, and it's about like just enough. I know that when I was going through school, I was sort of thinking, right, I don't want to fail my exams. I weren't necessarily thinking I want to get grade A stars in my exams, and there is a big difference. There's a huge bracket, there's a huge part of the scale that's missing from your mindset, because you're playing to not lose instead of playing to win. Okay, so that's one of the first things that I would really just catch yourself. Just what are you thinking right now? Is it the fact that I just don't want to lose my house? Because thinking I don't want to lose my house, I'm not earning enough money, is very, very different to thinking I want a house with a pool, 13 acres. I want I want bloody 10 bedrooms, 5 en suites. All this, you see what I mean? It's very different. At the end of the day, that you will create whatever you think about, whatever you desire and aim towards. You're going to build that. You're going to make that. If it's not even on your radar, if it's not even on your spectrum, then how the hell are you going to get there? So it is very different. There's some very, very subtle differences. So one little exercise that you can do for the next couple of days is just really, when you're putting together your goals and when you're thinking about your business and what you're going to do in the future, are you playing to win, or are you playing not to lose? Now, at first, it can feel a little bit funny to change your mindset like this. You can kind of think, well, I'm just going through the motions. I don't really believe it. But, if you tell yourself enough, if there's lots of repetition, and then you will start to find, you look out for it, you'll start to find evidence that actually this is working. You are heading towards a huge win, not just not losing. Okay, another one then is an abundance mindset, and it's very similar to this, hand in hand with sort of playing to win, not to not lose, is this abundant mindset. Now, the majority of people have a scarcity mindset, so they believe that there's not a great deal of money about, people are not buying, there's middle of a recession, we're halfway through, or we weren't even started Brexit and all this kind of stuff, the value of the pound's dropped and all that, and they have this real idea that there's not a great deal of money out there, which is okay. It's a protective measure, for ourselves, so that we don't look daft and stupid for not earning any money. The problem is that it's bullshit. You know, there is a huge, phenomenal amount of money out there, and you need to just go and get your slice. But the minute you start thinking, oh, well, it's scarce and it's not, there's no money around, no one's got any money, then you switch off looking for ways to get your slice. You know, you stop putting out offers because you think, well, you know, end of the day, why am I doing this? It's Christmas and no one's going to buy it. And, you know, it really does sort of affect what you do, how you do it, you know, how often you do it, and how successful you are. So I want you to get into like a bit of an abundance mindset. Now, when I first started, I was sort of, you know, I was giving training sessions away for free, as you do, you know, and I think actually when you first get started, that's not a bad thing to do. You know, they call it the human billboard, where you basically go and get loads of free clients, you get them some great results, and then you've got a load of testimonials, and, you know, they're quite a powerful thing when you're marketing. But, you know, so I was giving stuff away for free. I was sometimes, you know, because I was so desperate for the money, and because I thought money was so scarce, you know, I was charging next to nothing, you know, really undervaluing my time. And I basically ended up with, you know, 10, 15 personal training clients that were paying next to nothing. They didn't really value it. I didn't really value it. So, you know, it was just really frustrating and quite a hard business to be in. But, you know, there is an abundance of money. Now, you know, I regularly get phone calls where people are looking to spend sort of 5 figures on a weight loss retreat with me, you know. So the money is out there, and one of the big changes is you're changing the mindset that you believe it's out there, and you start looking for it, and you start looking for ways to get your slice, make your slice bigger. So that's the abundance mindset. Again, in the seminar, you know, we would have spoke about that a hell of a lot, but it's just a good little reminder here and now. Another big law of the universe is the law of cause and effect. And what it states is that, you know, for every action, you know, there is an equal or opposite reaction, which is, you know, which is kind of a similar thing here. You know, that's obviously Newton's, second law or something like that. I don't know what it is. But cause and effect basically states that to have a particular effect, you've got to have a cause. You can't have an effect without a cause. So because of that, whatever you've got in your life right now, there is a cause to it. Whatever results you've got, whatever you're experiencing, there is a cause. You are doing some certain things which are causing the effect that you've got. The issue is that many people go through life and they live on this side of this little equation, this little law here, on the effect, okay? They basically just think that, you know, the world happens to them, and whatever card they get dealt, that's the card they've got to play. Now, a marketing mindset, a good solid marketing mindset, knows that if you're on this side of the equation, all of a sudden you can become proactive. You can start building your own results, and, you know, you can change the environment that you're in and the amount of money you earn and what your business is like and all this kind of stuff. But you've got to be over here. You've got to be willing to do something different, to take steps, to change what you're doing, and ultimately you get the effect. Okay, so it's a lot like having a fruit tree. So obviously, you know, with the what people tend to do is they look at the fruits and go, all right, well, I wish I could just have like more fruit on this tree and all this kind of stuff. And they start, you know, if you started like polishing the fruit or, you know, messing around with the fruit to try and get that's not how it works. What you need to do is hit the roots. You need to hit the roots, not as in hit them, but, you know, water them, feed the roots, nurture the roots, make sure they've got enough sunlight and all that kind of stuff, and then the fruit is going to get bigger, juicier, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, and it's kind of hitting the roots. So if you're on the cause side of the equation, again, we'll probably do like an individual lesson on the cause and effect in one of the mindset webinars that I do. But you understand that you create your own results, you know, and if you want to know what kind of results you're creating right now and what kind of actions you're taking right now, just have a look around you, because everything that you've got, you've created. So that's the first one: create results. Being on the core side allows you to be proactive. Now, you're going to have to be proactive. If you think you're going to be reactive to the world and make a really successful health, wellness, or fitness business, then it's not going to happen. You know, you need to get out there and you need to make this happen. You need to take the first couple of steps and get going, and then keep pushing on. So many people that, you know, they want certain things. Even some of your clients, you know what I mean? They want to change. They want life to be better. They want a better image, but they're not prepared to take the steps. They're not prepared to be proactive and go and get it. You know, they want it to come to them. So, you know, you've got to be proactive, constantly sort of thinking about, right, I've got to get this done. One way in which you can do that is by having routines. And a lot of people I've spoken to in the past and I've coached before, have sort of said, well, I hate the idea of routines. I'm a bit of a free spirit. I just like to cracking on. But that's great. That's going to serve you to a point. But, there's a saying that the skills that got you out of the promised land, or Egypt, won't get you to the promised land. It's an old biblical saying where Moses led a lot of people out of Egypt, but he didn't have the skills and the knowledge and the experience to get them to the promised land. So when now you're a bit of a free spirit, you do whatever you want, you really value freedom, and the idea of having a routine just turns your stomach. But I can tell you now that you've got to have routines. Routines create freedom. By having a routine, it helps you work efficiently and smart and frees up more time, more frustration, you know what I mean, and makes more of your effort. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about some of the routines that I've got in a little bit, but one of which I mentioned in the last video, and that is that, seeing everything as a process. Because if you're seeing everything as a process, then, you can start formulating these routines that just save time and make it so much easier to get stuff done. For example, it might be that, every day you've got to bloody go and get a pint of milk or whatever from the shop, and you sort of, if you think of that as a process, right, what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to do this. You can start combining it with other things. Okay, so, when I go and get the milk, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the dog with me at the same time. The dog's getting walked. I'm going to take my bloody phone with me, my headphones, and listen to a podcast or an audio book or whatever. So you're learning on the way to the shop, having a bit of fresh air. You might turn into a little bit of a jog, so you get a little bit of exercise in there. But if you see it as a routine, then you can start combining other activities to make sure that you're doing things much more in a much better, more streamlined way. The other thing is that it'd be so much easier then to outsource it. If someone comes on and goes, right, okay, I've got to a point where I'm so busy that I need to be focusing on my Google AdWords, you can then say to the next person, stick with the milk analogy for now, which is not the greatest analogy, but, if someone comes along and goes, right, what do you want me to do? Oh, right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to grab the dog, grab the poo bags, head up to the shop, buy us a pint of milk, let the dog have a little bit of a walk around the field and then bring it down, okay? Because it's part of your routine, you saw it as a process, it's much easier then to outsource, okay? So, that's that. And ultimately, what we're trying to get you to do with the cause and effect is get you to take responsibility. If you're in this victim mindset of like, this is what's happened to me and blah blah blah, well, nothing's ever going to change, because you just sort of wallow in your own pity, and you don't need pity now. You need a bit of grit is what you need. You need some determination to get going, and in order to do that, you've kind of got to say, right, whatever happened, fuck it. If I don't start doing something now, nothing's going to change. And you've got to take responsibility and you've got to go for it. And ultimately, if we talk again in 12 months, 18 months time, you'll have had all the knowledge that you need in order to make a successful business, or certainly be well on your way to making a successful business, unless you don't take responsibility and put the effort in. If you don't do that, then you're not going to achieve anything. And people that have sort of said, the program doesn't work, that is bullshit. The program does work, and there's so much evidence of that. What's happened is you haven't worked the program, so you need to take responsibility and get going.